What's up, film crew? Good to see you guys. Now, this is either going to be a recap for you of our first lesson, but if you have not been able to come to the class, as I know a few of you are not able to, this is your first lesson video right here, okay? So saddle up. We're got a lot to talk about. We're gonna try to do it in a pretty short amount of time. And if you have any questions about any of the stuff we're talking about, please feel free to text me, call me. You have my number, so you are very able to reach out, okay? All right, so we have our time schedule, okay? If you need to get a paper and pen, which you need to get one, pretty much for all of this, please write down as much of this as you can. If you need to get one, go get it now and pause the video. Okay, don't know if you paused it or not, but either way, we are back. Here is our timeline, guys, okay? We have from June 25th, which is for today's class, the first class, all the way until July 19th. Now that may sound kind of like a long time, but it's not, okay? Here are your due dates, okay? Your due date for your finished video being finished, is July 17th. That's a Wednesday. It's not very far away. Don't waste time on this, okay? You need to put, from right now, you need to be working on this. There is cash prize, money to be won, and if you want to win, you got to put the work in, okay? All right, so let's look at more of our dates. Our first class, Tuesday, the 25th of June. Our next class date will be Thursday, the 27th, so this coming Thursday. And you have your story due on that Thursday, which is 2 days from today. Story due, what that means is you need to pick what your story is going to be, and we're going to talk about that today. Okay, that's today's topic, is talking about what your story is going to be. Your next due date, I believe, is going to be on Friday, the 28th, which is the day after that Thursday. Friday the 28th, your script is going to be due. Your script, that means what lines are being said, and what the setting is, and just everything written down line by line. That's when your script is due, this coming Friday. Don't panic, it's very doable. We're going to talk a little more about that too. Your next due date is going to be next Tuesday, which is July 2nd. And July 2nd, you're going to have your storyboard due. Your storyboard will be due on July 2nd, okay? So that's next Tuesday, a week from today, is when your storyboard is due. And we'll talk more about what a storyboard is in case you don't know. And then the last due date, aside from your video being done, which is July 17th, your last due date is going to be next Friday, July 5th. Next Friday is when your plan of action is due. That means what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. We're going to talk about that. But I just want you to write down those dates, okay? Write them in order. June 27th, your story is due. June 28th, script is due. July 2nd, storyboard is due. July 5th, your plan of action is due. And July 17th, your video is due to be finished. Okay, now that we've talked about the dates, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today, which is story writing. Story writing is absolutely essential to making a video. If you want to have a video, you got to have a story. That's the reason why you make a video, is to tell a story. Now, here's a couple things. The first thing is, you have to decide right now, by Thursday, what your story is going to be. Now, here's the thing. If you feel really uncomfortable with writing your own story, if you feel really uncomfortable with putting it together, you don't know what you're doing, you just can't stand it, I want you to try, okay? I want you to try, but if you try and you just cannot do it, then you can pick somebody else's story. Go find a story and remake it. It can be one of your favorite movies. It can be something you read in a book. It can be anything like that, okay? But the point is you have to decide if you're gonna make your own video. I mean, your video based off of your own story that you make up or off a story that you get from somewhere else. And you have to let me know. Now, if you get caught making a video that is from somebody else's story, and you're making it as if it's your own, that's called plagiarism. And your video will be disqualified. So you just gotta tell me. You just have to tell me. Mr. Doug Kane, however you wanna call me, this is somebody else's story and I'm remaking it. That's all you gotta do, is just tell me. That way I know, okay? You do get more points in the end for making your own story, but it's not a ton of points. It's just, you just get a few more. And if you can't just do it, then you can get somebody else's story. Okay, the next rule about your story is gonna be about filming. Some of you are filming, some of you are gonna be animating, drawing. Whatever it is you do, it has to start today. You can't use stuff that you drew or filmed 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago, 3 days ago. It just doesn't work that way, okay? You have to start doing it today. I don't really have a super big way of controlling that, but I'm gonna trust you. You cannot use stuff that you filmed or drew anytime before today, all right? Today is the day when you start. It's really important, okay? Make it fair for everybody. All right, now that we have talked about some of the deadlines and the dates, let's go into what we're talking about today for the first class. Like I said, on any of that stuff, if you have questions, please call me or text me, okay? So what we're talking about today is story writing. If you choose to write your story, and I want you to, because that's part of this, is getting to make up a story in your head and see it finished. That's a really fun experience. I don't want you to miss out on it. If you're really uncomfortable, you don't have to, but I want you to. When you're writing your story, there's 3 things you gotta know. 3 things, it's pretty simple. 1, who's your characters? 2, what is your setting? So where does this happen? What place does this happen in? You should have a few multiple places. Characters, by the way, is the people, the animals. You could have a lot of different things can be a character. Usually it's people. And then the last one, the third one, is plot. The plot is what happens. So let's back up a little bit. So your characters, you need to have a main character. Their main, they call it an antagonist. The main ones that the story focuses on. And it can be a boy, or it could be a girl. It could be an animal, it could be a dog if you want, or whatever you want the main character to be. But the point is that the story needs to follow them, and the part of the plot is that your main character faces challenges. He needs to face a challenge. You need to meet our character. Our character needs to face a challenge. Something happens, maybe right in the beginning or later on, whatever. And he needs to. It look like he's not gonna make it. It look like he can't do it. And then boom, he does. That's a huge part of a story. Is a main character, usually likable, lovable character, faces a situation that's over his head. He has to fight for it. He has to do something hard or work hard or something. And then he overcomes it and wins in the end. And usually you want to see your character learn something or grow in some way. They call that a character arc, where he starts here, he's kind of like, he gets brave, or he gets, joy in his life, something. You see some kind of change in him. You don't have to follow the rule of the character arc, but it adds good life to your video. The setting, but back to characters. Now you have your main character, now you have to have your other sub characters. Usually, 1 or 2 people that are also in it that play a big role. Maybe not the focus, but they play a part. Maybe they're on his side. At least one person on his side. Doesn't have to be, but this is just options for you. And then bad guy. 1, 2, 3, I don't know, usually at least one, some kind of a bad guy or a bad thing that makes him have to fight for something. So these are your characters. You need to think about what they look like, who they are, and really importantly, who you know that could be these characters. So start thinking about these things, okay? So we have your characters, now we have your setting. So where does this take place? If you want to have your whole thing be in some crazy outer space, that's totally fine. But just remember, you're going to have to film it all with a green screen, which we're going to learn. I'll teach you how. And if you want to use the green screen, then I'll show you and we'll do it. You have to put everything in behind, green screen it in. It's a fun thing to do green screen. So go for it. If you're not going to do green screen, you have to do it in places that you have available to you. You need to film your video or plan your story to happen in a place that is close by. What are the things you have here in Lyman? Well, you have the train. I know one person already who's using it for their video, which is more people can use it, totally fine. Multiple people used the train last year. So you have the train, that's a great prop, a great setting to use. And then you also have the high school, the football field. You have inside people's houses. You have different businesses, different restaurants, right? You can have them sitting at a restaurant. You have open fields, lots of open fields. You got places where there's trees. You got places where there's cows. You got places where there's hay bales. What else? Think about all the different places that you have here in Lyman. And if you want to expand a little further, where you have that's close by. You have the mountains. That's a little bit far away, but if your parents are willing to help, you have that too. So when you're thinking about where this story takes place, try to either make it in an area that you have, space that you have close to you, or do green screen, one or the other. You can mix the two too. That's totally fine. Okay, so we have characters, we have your setting where it takes place, and we have your plot. By the way, let me make a note that if you are doing animation, the world is your oyster. You can have your characters be anything. You can have your setting be anywhere. But if you are doing animation, you have to be working super hard, because people who are filming, they just click action and cut. Oh, good shot. Not for you. You need to draw frame by frame. That's going to take you a lot longer. And if you're into it, do it, because I want to see it. But just remember, you got to work hard. Okay? This is fun, but it also takes hard work. You're going to win money, hundreds of dollars. So you have to work hard for it. Don't forget that. This isn't just I don't know, something for goofing around. Although I want you to have fun. I want you to have fun. That's huge part of it. But I also want you to work hard and learn something cool, learn something new as you're doing it, okay? And don't forget also that I'm a pastor. I don't know if you don't know what a pastor is. It's somebody who believes in Jesus and who talks to people about Jesus. So don't be surprised if you hear some of that in here. And if you ever want to talk about that kind of stuff, let me know. No pressure, but I'm here to talk with you if you want to, okay? About life, about God, anything you want to talk about. All right, so we've talked about characters, we've talked about setting, and we've talked about plot. Now, there's a lot more to talk about, and we're going to cover those things, but what I want you to work on right now is writing down what your story is, who are your characters, where is your setting, where does this happen, and you can have multiple places, one scene happening in a house, the next scene happening out in a field, next scene happening on a train, next scene happening in outer space. You just move around a little bit. And then your plot, what happens in your story? What kind of lessons are learned? What kind of things does your main character learn, and your audience will learn with them? Because your audience is kind of living this through your main character. So what happens in your story? I don't want to complicate it too much. Make it simple as you want, or complicate if you want. But it can be simple. In a lot of ways it should be simple. The more simple it is, the easier it'll be for you to put together. Speaking of putting together, and write this down, your time frame for your video. It has to be a minimum of 3 minutes and a maximum of 7 minutes, okay? The minimum your video can be is 3 minutes long. The maximum is 7 minutes. You're gonna have access to all kinds of good resources, music, sound effects. We have a subscription to a thing called Audio Blocks, which has all the sound effects and music you need for your video, very important part of it. And also any stock footage. You say you need a shot of some horses running in a field, or a crazy busy street, and you just don't have that. Well, we'll go on there, we'll find something, we can plug it into your video for you. A lot of things to help you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to make this as doable for you as I can. I want you to succeed. I want you to make your video. Last year, we had a lot of kids work really hard. Some of them struggled, but they fought through it, and they were so excited at the end of it. We're doing things a little bit differently. Last year we gave away a brand new camera to the winner. This time we're gonna do cash, and we're gonna do prizes to the second place and the third place winners as well. So everybody's gonna get a really good shot at winning this thing. I think as of right now, I think there's 12 of you who are in the film festival. And I wanna point out one more thing for timeline. From the time that we stopped the classes, okay? From the time that we stopped the classes, which will be next, and we're only doing 2 weeks of classes, all right? From the time we stop that class to the time that your video is due, you have 11 days to make your video. That is not very long. I know the pool looks fun. I know your friends are going to be doing cool stuff, but you are in a film festival. So I want you to do as much time into this as you can. I will help you, but if you're not helping yourself, it's gonna make things really hard, okay? You can do it, I know you can. This takes some work, it takes some effort, but man, it sure is fun and exciting and rewarding. Just think, you're gonna have your friends and family getting to watch your video on the movie theater screen. How cool is that? I never had that when I was your age. That's a really cool experience. And so the more you work at that, the more that you put effort into it, the more it's gonna be great for you getting to watch your movie get played on the movie theater screen, and how your friends and family get to watch it. And hopefully you get to win. We have our judges who will judge your video and decide who makes the best one. So work hard, do your best. I know that you can. I know you can pull this off. If you have any questions from this first lesson, please let me know. Next week, just FYI, to give you a heads up, we're going to be talking about your 3 things: your script, your storyboard, and your plan. That's what we're talking about next week is once you have your story down, because your story, what your story is gonna be, is due in 2 days. Thursday, this coming Thursday. In 2 days, you need to know what your story is going to be. My story is about a guy named Bob who walks across the moon or the street to buy a hamburger when he's met by an evil robot who tries to steal his cheeseburger, and he loves the cheeseburger, and he's like, no, and he fights for his cheeseburger, and the robot tries to beat him back. And see, there's my characters, Bob, robot, and the plot, he wants his cheeseburger, and he says, no, I have to have my cheeseburger, no, and the robot's about ready to beat him, ready to lose, and then all of a sudden, Bob realizes he has a secret weapon. He has pickles in his back pocket, and he throws them at the robot, and he hits him in the eye, and he goes, I cannot make it. I don't know. And then right before he's about to take a bite, he sees a little girl, and she's like hungry and sad, and he's like, oh, here you go. It's better for you to have it than for me. And what did he learn? He learned that, yeah, cheeseburgers are great, but it's better to give away it's better to give than to receive. I'm just making this up as I go. But anyway, that's what your story should be. You know the whole picture. You don't know the details yet. You don't know what happens here, here, and here. You just know it's got Bob. It's got his cheeseburger. He wants his cheeseburger. What does your guy want? He wants something. Something stands in his way. The robot stands in his way. No, you can't have your cheeseburger. And then he beats him with his pickles. He beats him after a fight. And then he's about to take a bite. That rhymes. And then he sees the little girl who's having a fright. And he gives her some that he might have had himself. That's what you need to have by Thursday, what your story is. If you get past that and you're done, start writing your script. This person said this. This is where it's happening. This person does this. This person says that. Da, 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 da. We'll talk more about that next week. But if you want to get started on that, you absolutely can and should start writing your script. Super easy. It's not hard to write a script. Bill, you took my cheeseburger. Robot, yes, I will eat your cheeseburger. Bill, and then anytime it's not them saying something, but they're doing something, you put it in parentheses. Bill jumps towards the robot and smacks him with the pickle in parentheses. And at the very top, you write, where this is happening, setting, where is this happening? We'll talk more about that. But that's what we're talking about next week is your script, your storyboard, and your plan. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Happy writing. Hope you get some awesome story ideas. Like I said, if you can't think of one, you can use somebody else's. But try to make up your own story. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.